Hello and welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Retail campaign. I'm Ashley Blake. Every consumer and retail brand is going digital, and yet many of those who are making the transition remain anchored in old technologies. These hamper the user experiences not only of the customers but developers and marketers too. One answer is to do away with content management in favour of experience management. But what does experience management enable developers and marketers to do? And why must businesses see it not as an optional extra, but an integral part of their operation? This is what we're going to discuss with James Brooke, founder and CEO of Amplience. Okay, perhaps we can start by explaining to us what the difference is between content management and experience management.
To answer that question, perhaps I can explain what experiences really are for our retail customers. Ultimately, their consumers are interacting with them using all sorts of digital devices in all of their different channels, not just an e-commerce site or a website, but in-store, on-app, and into marketplaces as well. So experience management is the holistic view of all of those different channels and consumer interactions on a single platform, so that you can really start to orchestrate, start to optimize, and start to use the data that you have in the business to really create a much more unique and personalized and ultimately valuable experience. So content management was very focused on managing that single channel and getting a website or an e-commerce site up and running. It was a very one-size-fits-all experience. It didn't really extend into all of those other channels across all those other devices. And it didn't really use data and insights and personalization to do anything that was different from a consumer's perspective. Experience management takes all of that new technology, all of the insights and data from every customer interaction in real time, starts to build an experience that is unique for that particular interaction and that individual.
What's the danger of retailers sticking to traditional methods?
The danger is that they fall further behind and become irrelevant from a brand perspective. Consumers' expectations are set by these amazing experiences that they encounter day to day, and that's not just a retail experience. Those app experiences have been invested in over the years. They've become extremely capable. They're really slick, really easy to use. They're super fast, and they seem to anticipate your every move. That type of experience is the kind of experience everybody's going to have to ultimately replicate. So if you don't start investing now, building the internal capabilities to do that, you're just going to fall behind and ultimately, I think, become totally irrelevant to that consumer's requirements.
Now, traditionally, James, content management involved a trade-off between developer convenience and marketers' convenience. Is that the same with experience management?
It can be, although it really does depend very much on the technology platform that you're using and whether that platform was built recently using more modern approaches or was built based on an old web content management stack. The older platforms tended to require developers in the process. They often had to do quite a lot of work in order to change the experience, and they fundamentally would be a constraint on what the business users, the merchants, the marketers wanted to do. If you're using modern technologies like microservices and APIs, and you're using cloud as your platform, you can move much more quickly. And even though there are developer tasks to do, they tend to be completed more quickly and ultimately free up the time that's available to get the business users focused on the job at hand.
In your experience, what's stopping companies from adopting experience management?
Quite often it's alignment in those teams. They don't necessarily think about the world from a consumer's perspective. If you're really customer-centric and you think about it from your customer's point of view, you realize customers don't care about channels. They don't care about your internal KPIs. They don't care about the way you've structured your teams. But of course, we have to organize our businesses in a way that gives teams some focus and makes sense from a performance perspective. So the challenge is marrying up those two views of the world and building an internal operating model that puts the customer at the center and enables you to think about the world holistically from their perspective. And that's actually a real challenge.
And that's where Amplience come in, because you have a solution.
We do. We've been in the industry, us founders of the business, for quite many years. And we've experienced firsthand all the challenges there are in actually building, managing and operating these platforms. So we had the opportunity to start again with Amplience and really think about the world from the perspective of this much more sophisticated experience that our customers would need to build. So we started building a new set of capabilities. We put them in the cloud. We started building them in a new way using microservices and APIs. And as a result, we got a lot of benefits straight away that we could enable our customers with, that drove up their productivity, that fundamentally solved the problems of business alignment by helping consumers to interact across those channels in ways that the business users could really get their heads around straight away. So we feel that we've done something quite unique, that we enable a different type of value, and that ultimately we are one of the leading businesses in this experience management revolution, and we can help our customers get to the future faster.
Looking towards the future, how do you see experience management developing in, say, the next decade?
Experience management is going to become more data-driven. One of the great things about digital interactions from a brand's perspective is that you can track every interaction. So those interactions tell you a lot about what consumers are trying to do, how efficient they found that process, whether they could fulfill their shopping missions, whether they could actually complete the task at hand. That data is absolutely invaluable because it tells you not just what you can do more generally to improve the quality of the customer experience in the business, but it can also start to do some things in real time. So we've got all these new concepts like Web 3.0 coming on the horizon. People are talking about the metaverse, all of these new sort of concepts around how that customer experience will develop. Ultimately, what they really mean by that is a much more seamless experience, a much more real-time experience, an experience that ultimately will be able to anticipate better the things that you're trying to do and deliver you a much more seamless experience at the end of the day. So to do that requires better technologies, faster systems, more insight, better data, and something that the business itself can get its head around and build something that really makes a difference. So it's a pretty exciting time. I think we're really set up at Amplience to be successful in that world, and our customers are really taking us to new places and challenging us all the time.
James Brooke, founder and CEO of Amplience.